All right, it is Tuesday, 4/11/23, and since it's Tuesday, it means it's time for our Shrine Showcase, Showdown, Rundown, whatever you want to call it. It's basically us pitting the Shrine perks, which we'll have up here in a second, against your hard-earned iridescent shards. So let's slide over here to the Shrine of Secrets, and we'll get our handy-dandy little Shrine Showcase kind of rating scale up and ready to go. So what do we have this week? This week we've got Hex Ruin, which is a hag perk. Used to be one of the top perks, but we'll kind of talk about where it falls now. And basically it's a hex, and what it does is it causes generators that are not currently being repaired to regress at 100% of normal regression speed. And once the totem goes, this is done for. So it's one of those that if you are a killer that is good at chasing people off of gens, then it can kind of not regenerate, regress them down to nothing eventually. It used to be much faster than this. They kind of killed the rate at which it regresses repair progress, but either standalone or in a build, it can still serve a role. This is one that we would have put immediately into the meta category not too long ago, but right now it's more of a off meta, more so of the kind of build around me uh, category of kind of second rate perks. And what I mean by that is it works very well as a perk to help get your hex playthings going. A lot of times, or not your hex playthings, your hex pentimento going, and then also possibly be protected by hex playthings. So we misspoke there a little bit. What we mean is the build is typically something like Ruin, Plaything, Pentimento, the 4 playthings, and the 1 Ruin. Give you your 5 totems for your 5 stacks of Pentimento, or just 1 stack 5 times, however you go about it there. So you dedicate 3 perks to kind of a Pentimento build. You've got Plaything to help kind of make them oblivious, hopefully speed up chases. And then if Ruin stays up, it can do a lot of work regressing gens. Then for your 4th perk, you can add an info perk in, maybe something like Discordance that lets you know when survivors are doubled up. So you can chase them off of gens and let Ruin do its work. Or, I don't know, you go with something along the lines of Corrupt, just slow things down in the beginning, maybe get them moving around off of gens early, and then if you can get a quick down, Plaything kicks in. They're looking for Ruin. They're looking for Plaything. It's not the best build, but it can work out well. So we like Ruin in those kind of builds. We also like Ruin when you're running just a heavy slowdown build, right? You might have Discordance as your one and only info perk. Maybe your killer doesn't need a lot of info or chase help. Maybe they just need to slow gens down. So then you can run Ruin with something like No Way Out, Deadlock, or any other slowdown that you want. And you're just saying that, hey, if it stays up for a little while, it's going to do something. We're cool with that. We've still got some backup, maybe Jolt, maybe Deadlock, maybe No Way Out, just some extra slowdown. And we feel like just kind of working it in. Games it stays up, it can carry games. If it goes quick, we have backup. So it's definitely in that second tier category, but it's one we like. Probably not one we're going to showcase, though. People know what Ruin does if you played for a little while. If you haven't, it's pretty self explanatory. You're not on gens, the totem's up, it's regressing them, totem gone, or you're on gens, doesn't do a whole lot. What else do we have here? Killer wise, we also have a Nurse's Calling. And what a Nurse's Calling does, it's a nurse perk, makes sense. And it unlocks aura reading for survivors that are healing or being healed. And we've only got the green showing here. I think it goes up to 28 or 32 meter range. But it just reveals their auras while they're being healed by themselves or others. Paired with things like Sloppy Butcher, it gives you some slowdown and some nice information to find people. It can be very powerful on stealth killers or killers that can move around the map quickly. The problem is if survivors stay injured, doesn't do anything, right? If you've got some survivors that are confident they're looping and they're running things like resilience, pounding out those gens, and then playing for adrenaline at the end of the game, not going to do a whole lot. Also, if you have survivors that are running things like insta heals on their med kits, or they are running inner healing, any sort of like instant heal or heals that take place without the healing action, doesn't do a whole lot. Um, Also, perks like Will Make It, or what's the Jill perk? Is it Resurgence? that gives you half your health when you get off the hook. Perks that really speed up healing really make this kind of diminishing returns because if the heal only takes a few seconds, you've got very little time to pick up on that aura and then make it over there to make it count, right? If not, they're healed up. You don't know exactly where they're at. You got to hit them twice anyway. You spend all the time going over there. So can be strong, but there's a lot of risk in this perk as well. But both of these are ones that you can get by spending your iridescent shards on the killer, or the killers are free. In certain versions of the game, like console. So you might be better served spending blood points. But both are good. They're both definitely in this kind of off meta build around me category. I don't think we mentioned that with the nurses calling first, but we definitely mentioned it with Ruin, Plaything, Pentimento, strong build, something along those lines, or just Ruin with Undying, some other perks. And then a nurse's calling for a build around me sort of thing. Throw it in there with Sloppy and two other perks to suit your needs, and it can work out really well. Now jumping over to Survivor side of things, we got Left Behind, which is a Bill Overbeck perk, and basically unlocks Aura Reading again. You see a theme here with some Aura Reading, and if you're the last survivor, you can see the Aura of the Hatch within 32 meters. So if you're playing solo and you find yourself alone at the end with the generators not complete, this can help you find that hatch. Uh, Tough thing is it's frowned upon because it is kind of a selfish perk. If you die before the end game, it didn't do anything for you. But there's a lot of perks like that, right? Adrenaline, Hope. There's a bunch that if you don't get to the end game, they don't do a whole lot or they do nothing. But it's one of those ones where people will accuse you of playing for the end game, sabotaging your team, just playing for hatch. Uh, you don't see it run a lot, but if you're going for like some sort of solo survivor streak, things like that, it can be a nice perk to have. Or if you're just new and all your friends kind of aren't that good at the game yet, you guys can all kind of slap this on, and whoever's left has a better chance at the hatch. I will say it is a free perk if you just spend your blood points on leveling up Bill. Bill's got some other good perks there with Unbreakable and Left Behind as well. Not, we got Left Behind here, not Left Behind, Borrowed Time. So he's got a couple perks there that you might want. So you might just want to spend your blood points on this. This is definitely one of those kind of meme to trash tier perks. It's not completely useless. So we won't say it's trash, but it's more kind of memeing around or beginner oriented. So not the highest on the list, and may not be worth the iridescent shards. And then we've got Visionary here, which is a Felix Richter perk. And this allows you to see the orders of gens within 32 meters, but it goes away for 16 seconds when the gen's completed. So when you need it most, when you're trying to find another gen, it doesn't work. Uh, it can help you a little bit if you're struggling to find gens. I just think that you have some better perks to do this, some that are not survivor specific. So you can just run some different things to help you out with that. Sometimes it might just be running some aura reading like Kindred, so you know where the killer is and can just take your time finding generators. And then what is it? Deja Vu that shows you gens and helps you with the 3 gens. So I just don't see a ton of use here. So this is definitely falling more in that kind of trash tier. So what we're gonna do is now that we've explained them, we'll go in and give kind of our final thoughts here. So we got kind of a build around me perk here, which it used to just be strong on its own, but it's more of a build around me perk now with Ruin. Same thing with our Nurse's Calling, more of a build around perk. Definitely needs some help to kind of make it work, or specific killers to make it work. It's good on killers like Pyramid Head, where you can hit through walls and that kind of stuff as well. And unfortunately, we have some meme or trash tier survivor perks this time around. So these are kind of our final thoughts on that. We sum things up where we got some killer perks that are kind of that second tier. Definitely build around me perks can be a lot of fun, but they need support. And then we've got some survivor perks that are just kind of hot garbage. So if we were going to spend our hard earned iridescent shards, it would probably be on one of these two. Uh, Ruin, I think, for a lot of killers, there's better options out there. And with a nurse's calling, just use Sloppy Butcher with it, which makes life a little easier. Ruin, it's kind of dedicating 3 or 4 perk slots. So there's more killers you're going to have to level up or more perks you're going to find in the shrine. So this might kind of be our first choice on what we would grab. And then this would be our second choice. And then these would be just no. So that one's got the exclamation point because that's definitely a just no. So what we're going to do is we're going to post this up for anybody that's just looking for our thoughts on the shrine. And then we're going to hop over the stream and we'll probably post up any good video footage we get later on of some builds using a nurse's calling. That seems to be the most fun perk to use out of uh, this set of shrine perks. So that's what we like to do. We like to give our opinions, and then we like to hop over and pick the most fun or the best perk to kind of build around, have some fun with, try to showcase. Sometimes our thoughts stay the same. Sometimes we learn something new about it, and we'll be happy to share those in the video as well in the testing video. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. Hopefully you found this informational. If you did, hit that like button, that subscribe button. It certainly helps support the channel and bring more content to you. So appreciate it. I'm Smig. I'm signing off. Hopefully, we see you again in our comments or in the fog. Take care.